Hi, Jordan. This is Jan 21st. This is the code organization meeting for the SIG architecture. Hopefully, we can adhere to the code of conduct since it's just the two of us. First thing on the agenda today is the issue number. Which one is this? Yep. 98267. Let me share my screen. Oof. This is a new laptop, so I have to figure out how to share my screen. Okay, Jordan, why don't you do it?
I think you need to allow me to do that.
Yes. Make co-host done.
All right. So I opened up this issue. We've had a lot of people confused by the old versions of Client Go that we had. So for history, these are all the old versions that we published sort of back before Go modules were a thing, back when we were trying to follow Semver and indicate that there were Go API changes between releases of Client Go, things like that. So basically, I think 1.4.1.5-ish corresponded to Kubernetes 1.4.1.5. And then 2017, February. Around here, it might have started corresponding to like Kubernetes 1.6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12-ish, something like that. I forget the exact correspondence, but all of these versions are basically versions that people should not be using at this point. I mean, if they compiled against them, they could still compile against them if they were happy with them. But if they were going to start using Client Go today, we would not recommend any of these versions. We would recommend the versions that correspond to the modern Kubernetes versions. For example, there we go. So like 0.20.2 corresponds to Kubernetes 1.20.2. However, because all of these are semantically larger than the versions we're tagging now, Go will never automatically select the versions we want. It will always default to either the latest Semver version, like this 11.0.0, or there's actually something, I forget if it was Go 1.15 or 1.16, that prefers versions that don't have the incompatible bit added, which means it would go back to 1.5.1, which is actually even older.
Right.
And so we would like that not to happen. Dropping the tags is bad because that's just bad practice. And it wouldn't actually fix people who are pointing at the module proxy because it has cached versions of all of these things. What we would like to do is mark these as versions that should not be preferred. And that would make Go fall back to the newest version that was not marked as bad.
Okay, so that is not going to break people who already depend on these versions.
Correct. And anyone who already has one of these versions referenced and vendored and linked, or however they're referencing it, if they're already pointing at one of these versions, it doesn't make it unavailable. It doesn't remove it from availability. It doesn't prevent fetching it. It doesn't prevent building against it. All it does is inform the version selection mechanism used by Go modules, so that if you say go get client Go and you don't give it a version, it would not
Right.
pick one of these. Or if you say go upgrade, or go mod upgrade, or go get -u or whatever, it would not upgrade to one of these. I mean, upgrading is not a great idea anyway, because a lot of our dependencies do incompatible things. So just blindly upgrading is probably not going to work, but we could at least make go get client Go work.
For new folks who will be
For
starting.
new folks. So
Right.
someone starting a new project who needs to depend on client Go, like the installation instructions would change from go get client Go at v0.20.2, which works.
Right.
But people aren't used to doing. So instead of that's what you have to do today to make it work. But what everyone does is that, and then they get like a 3-year-old version,
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't work, and they get angry at us.
Right. So this update will only work when somebody is using Go 1.16 when it gets released.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, the retracted module versions will only be understood by Go 1.16 and up.
And what do we have to, like, do we have to create a file or something like that? With how do we mark these as retracted?
The way you do it is you release a new version which contains a stanza like this in the Go mod file. And you can add a comment associated with it that gets surfaced.
Yeah.
So you can explain why it was retracted.
Okay. That's going to be a little bit hard on our tools, right? Because the Go mod for client Go is generated.
The Go mod for current versions is generated.
Yeah.
Retractions are only read from the latest version. So we would actually, I think we would need to release a 1.5.2 containing only retractions, basically.
Oh my God. Okay.
I think we would definitely create a dummy repository with basically all these same tags and verify all of this.
So, and then what happens? Do we continue? Well, so is it a one-time thing that we are trying to do, or
it's a one-time thing? We're basically trying to get rid of these versions, like from being auto-selected. And so I think it's 1.5.2 or any Symver release higher than 1.5.1 that would contain that information. So it would be a one-time thing that would shut out all of those versions. The tricky thing, and this is what I need to check, is that we wouldn't actually want 1.5.2 to be used either. Exactly. So we would have to retract ourselves. Like the 1.5.2 release would have to retract 1.5.2, and you can do ranges, so you could, but so we would basically want all of these with a Go mod file containing this.
So you got to remove the dates at the end.
Yeah.
Then the next question is, we don't need to wait for like 121 to do this, right? We can do it by hand, ad hoc. We can pick V022 and then cut a 150. Well, we'll have, what do we do?
I would make the 152 content be identical to the 151 content. I wouldn't change any content. Like the only thing I would do is add a Go mod file so that we could publish this list of retractions.
So 151 is a tag, so we need to cut a branch out of it, then update the Go. No.
No, if we're doing it by hand, we don't need a new branch publicly. We could create a branch, do it locally, and then push a tag. The tags don't have to be on branches.
So we could, but we'll need to, so it's 151.
Mm-hmm.
And so 151 has a Go mod file?
No.
So we are enabling Go mod, so it picks 151, 152, and then we are retracting everything, including 152.
Yes.
Okay. Is there anything else we can do? Like instead of doing 022, we can start doing 122.
We shouldn't do that.
No.
Because we don't actually follow Semver.
Right.
And like right now, the v0 dot whatever actually indicates the compatibility between versions, which is Go signatures change.
Yeah.
So if we started enforcing Go signature compatibility, then we could start tagging 1.x releases. But we don't have a credible plan to do that. So we shouldn't tag 1.x releases yet.
Okay. Is there a way to tell the Go proxy people to go do this on the back end, delete everything?
I mean, so one of the reasons they added this mechanism was for us.
Okay. We told them that this is a use case we have, and they ended up doing it for us.
I don't think we told them that.
Right.
People came to them saying, Client Go is broken. You're picking the wrong version of Client Go.
Okay.
And they came to us and said, you guys tagged Client Go in really squirrely ways. What are you doing? Okay. We said, well, we were trying to follow Semver before Go modules were a thing. And then you released Go modules and you don't let us release major versions without renaming our module, which we can't do for various reasons.
Right.
What we really want to do is just like mark these old versions as bad.
Okay.
And so this is the mechanism that allows that to happen. So yeah.
Okay, so it looks like you will do this on your laptop and push it. And I can check if you have permissions to do this, I guess, right, Jordan?
Yeah.
So, and the other thing is, if we do this and there is a problem, we would have to, we would go delete the tag manually and go tell the Go proxy people to delete it on their backend.
I mean,
I don't know.
So if we publish something with all of these things retracted, like the worst thing I can imagine is, so right now, if you do go get client go, you get one of these bad versions.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't see how we could be in a worse spot than we are today.
Right. The thing is, like, the retraction with the V152 also retracting itself,
Mm-hmm.
if that fails for some reason.
Oh, I wouldn't do it without like
Testing.
trying it and checking with the Go folks to say, this is what we're planning to do. Does this sound right to you?
Okay.
And then actually trying it on like a test repo to make sure. Like I would set up a test repo with all of these same tags to make sure it behaves the way we expect before we did it on client Go.
Okay. That sounds like a doable plan. Do we need to tell SIG release folks that we are doing some surgery?
Maybe I'll probably take notes here and then tag people into this issue for visibility.
Okay. And I will add you as an owner to this client Go repo, so you can do this surgery.
Yeah.
When do you want to do this? Next week?
We shouldn't do it before Go 116 releases in case there's late breaking behavioral changes with Go 116.
But they do have some RC1 or something like that, right? Is enabled there for us to try.
Sure. Yeah, so I will probably start experimenting with this with the Go 116 RC.
Okay.
Let me make a list of things to verify. Verify the retractions don't cause more problems for Go versions less than 116. Verify retracting
itself.
A release retracting itself is permitted. I think it actually, that was one of the examples they gave here. So to retract 100, yeah. So if you accidentally pushed a bad 100 version, you have to publish 101, also retracting 101. So this is explicitly part of the use case they're considering.
Okay.
Which, yeah.
Sounds good.
And then we need to verify the format for retracting an incompatible version tag. So the tags for these are actually like tag 2.0.0, but the module version is 2.0.0 incompatible.
Right.
So which do we use? So I'll experiment and also ask which they expect.
Yeah, I'm out of questions. I'll go read a little bit, I guess. But it sounds good,
Yeah,
Jordan.
don't worry. I'm not taking your silence to mean Dim's approved this and understood it all. I mostly just wanted to let you know this was something I was thinking about and hoping it'll fix some of the angst that we've seen around client Go.
Sounds good. Thank you. So the other question I had for you was, did you get a chance to rustle up somebody for the gRPC version upgrade?
Yeah, Peter has been chasing, where was it? Issues, gRPC. Recently updated. There we go.
Which Peter is this?
This is, he's on the SED team.
Oh, okay.
So he's been chasing a bunch of stuff between GoGo and gRPC and Google Protobuf, and so he's summarizing. This is the latest summary. Looks like there were performance benefits to GoGo Protobuf at one point, but the gap has been closed there. So we're going to check to see if dropping GoGo would be possible. So that was the first piece. The second piece was also the way GoGo generates code is different. And so assuming the performance issues have been resolved, then it would be a matter of mechanically switching to drop GoGo. But this is the really painful bit.
People using existing versions that we have put out, they'll have to recompile.
Not that, it's that all of the dependencies in our tree that do protobuf stuff have to make this transition. Like we before we can upgrade the underlying library to 1.4 whatever, all of the dependencies that do protobuf stuff have to rebuild their proto libraries on the current version of protobuf and drop GoGo.
Which ones are there? Because I know of containerd, etcd, us.
Oh, sorry, I'm not sharing my screen anymore. You can't see anything I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Okay.
This
okay.
is the latest summary. Let me.
Oh, okay. Yeah, now it makes sense. I was wondering where this text was.
Highlighting stuff and pointing to links, and sorry about that. Code organization. Let me throw the link in there as well.
I didn't create one for today. Sorry.
2021. It's my favorite two code organizers. Assuming Kate's can go, we still have to pick up new versions of all protobuf containing dependencies built, generated with modern protobuf library versions. Coordinating this will be hard. I had not looked at how many we had other than etcd. Yeah, I hadn't looked at which ones those were yet.
Okay. So Peter has the pen, and then he'll come back to us. But then we have to go see what he's doing and make sure that everything else can switch to.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like we don't want to go do the work to switch until we're sure that we'll be able to switch. But right. If everyone does that, then we'll never switch. So.
Yeah. Also, even if etcd switches, they have to make a release. I think in a full it's a 1.5, right? Or
3.5.
Yeah. So 3.5. So they have to release that. They don't have a 3.50 yet, as far as I know. So.
Right.
So they have to release that, and then we have to switch. So there is time, even after they put out a release, there's going to be time before we switch to it. So the other question I had is the wire protocol does not change, right?
Correct. This
so
is purely client serialization generated code side.
Okay, so so basically the handshakes with older Go protobuf based stuff will continue to work.
Yeah, across the wire, if you have a wire boundary, it works fine. The issue is purely like passing structs that have pointers or don't have the aren't following the expected generation to something and saying, please serialize this. And then the serializer is optimized for what it expected to be generated. And you hand it a struct generated by some other random version of some other random thing. It says like panic. Like I wasn't, this should be a pointer. It's not a pointer. Blow up. So.
Then we need to, so the sequence would be, they make this change in etcd, then we have to run scalability tests against this etcd, and then I don't know, would we run scalability tests without switching the vendor directly or with vendor? Both should work, right? Before vendoring the new etcd client, we should still continue to work, right?
I don't know how to. I think the performance tests that they were referring to were not like our scalability tests. I think they were like unit test benchmark types of things. Like,
understood. Yeah, no, I mean for our side, right? Like before we can switch to a new version of etcd, we do a bunch of things, and one of them is running the existing code as is against a new version of etcd, assuming that's where the wire protocol stuff comes in, right?
Where
So
we bump the server.
we bump the server and not the client. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then once we are sure that there is no regression on the server side, then we switch the client to the new version. And then when we switch the client to the new version, that's when we need to be sure that our other dependencies are switched away from go protobuf.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. Then the other one digging into memory is, have you heard anything from the customized folks?
I'm sorry, say it again.
Have you heard anything from the customized folks? Customized. On when they can separate. They depend on Kubernetes and we depend on them, the circular dependency?
No, I haven't. No, I haven't.
Okay. I can poke them this week, or next week, before our next call, I guess. Yeah. So just before this call, I was going through the systemd one. So let me write notes to myself so I don't forget. Systemd customize. And then the other few things that are coming down the pike is runc is going to be, there's going to be either a RC or a 100. So runc is coming up. Containerd 1.1.5 is coming up. So we'll need to bump to those. I'll have to go to them and check if we are using a newer dependency than they are, then I need to switch them over to the ones that we are using. Those are our usual problems, I think. Oh, C advisor. I have to go see where they are now. Okay, so I have a few things to check up on before next time.
Okay. All right.
Sounds good. See you next time.
Yeah.
Bye.